Television, and we're here on location at District Governor Vicki Moskowitz's kitchen with Rich Hopkins, blogger, author, professional speaker, and professional coach, one of the stars of the movie Speak, and third place finisher in the World Championship of Public Speaking 2006. Good morning, Rich. It's nice to see you today. How are you?
Good morning, Matthew. Nice to be here.
Well, Toastmasters District 60 certainly appreciates you coming by. Oh, and we're on a conference call, so the phone will be here because we've got anyone from District 60 or anywhere else who wants to join us today may be chiming in on the conference call. So we'll have this here. Rich, you visited us, presented a keynote at the conference. Played Simon Cowell in District 60 Idol, gave Q&A. How's been your visit with District 60 so far?
Oh, it's been wonderful. District 60 has offered me such great hospitality. Been able to stay at the Latchford Inn. So get Marilyn in the picture here. She's done a great job of taking care of me this week, taking me to all the different clubs and giving me a chance to meet people beyond the district conference and really get a chance to experience what Toronto is like, since this is my first time here.
Yeah, great. And we've got sun for you. This is one of the 3 sunny days we have this winter, and we've planned them just for your visit. Rich, I have some questions for you. We have some questions from the crowd that's gathered here. We might get some from the phone. I want to start with your background. Of course, you're a prolific blogger and author of several books. We've got a couple of them here that we'll talk about. But I would like to find out what you haven't been a professional speaker from the day you came out of the cradle. What was your early life, and did you have another career before you were a professional coach and speaker?
Well, I don't know. Coming out of the cradle, my mom would probably say I was a professional speaker because she could not get me to shut up. It didn't mean that I was actually saying anything of any value. But once I got to 7th grade, you wouldn't think that I would ever be a professional speaker. As my first real experience in front of an audience was, as most of us, an oral book report. I gave a book report on Abraham Lincoln, and I didn't come in prepared because I figured Abraham Lincoln, everybody knows about Abraham Lincoln. How hard can it be? But then when I got up there with a couple of notes and started looking out at all these students who I'd grown up with, who kind of made fun of me my entire life because of the way I walked, and it didn't help that my name wasn't Rich Hopkins back then, it was Dick Hopkins. And junior high is a really good time to change your name. So, looking out at them, I couldn't say anything. I just fell flat. And I never actually gave the report. I ran out of the room crying. And to think that that kid would grow up and become the 3rd place winner in the World Championship of Public Speaking someday, you wouldn't have imagined it.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Have you run out of any rooms crying since then?
No, not really. I've stayed in rooms crying, but I have 6 kids, so that will tend to create a lot of tears at various times.
There's a thing I wanted to ask you about. How did you then get started with professional speaking?
Well, I kind of stayed away from speaking after an experience like that. You're not exactly willing to jump back in. But in college, I got involved in a lot of drama. So I was on stage, but I wasn't having to say anything from inside of me. I could just channel the director's vision, the author's words, and just be that character, which isn't the same as speaking. Then as I got out of college, I ended up in sales, which again isn't really speaking because you're just saying what your employer is telling you to say.
Right.
You're selling, and sometimes as a salesman you're lying, so you're still acting.
Okay, and you've turned into your blog, speakanddeliver.com. You comment on Toastmasters topics, on speaking topics. You do coaching through that blog. You're quite the writer, and you write speeches, and I know you coach people. How is getting to become a writer different than becoming a speaker?
Well, I tend to write the way I speak, and a lot of people, they start with writing and then they try to speak. I started with speaking and then I tried to write. And I went from sales into Toastmasters just to have an opportunity to meet more people and to finally find what it is I had to say inside. And Toastmasters gave me that opportunity because I had to write my own speeches. I had to figure out what it is I wanted to say. And it took me a long time, but I finally found that voice, and the blog started only about 4 years ago. So it's been an opportunity for me to try to spread my voice. When you're talking, you usually only get to talk to the people in the room. When you're blogging, you can reach out to the world.
And Rich, certainly you're inspirational, motivational, and humor is something that people think of when they think of you. There's fun.
I am often laughed at. Yes.
Yeah, we love laughing at Rich Hopkins. But how important is it for everyone? Not everyone has an easy sense of humor. You have a sense of humor being on stage, probably some of them musicals and comedies. How important is it for people to look for and add humor in their speeches, even if it's not natural to them?
Right. Well, you need to be humorous. There's an old saying that if you want to get paid as a speaker, you better make them laugh. But there's an even better saying, and that is if you want them to actually listen to you and learn from you, you want them to laugh. The height of learning comes right after laughter. Jeffrey Gitomer said that. He's a fairly famous sales trainer. Go out and check out some of his books. But it's not really a matter of adding humor. It's finding the humor that is already there. So don't write a speech and try to be funny with it. Write the speech you want to give, and then look where the humor already is.
And it sounds like you're saying, look for the places that you want to impress the audience especially. So you're saying, get humor in there because now I really have their attention. That's where I want to get my points. Is that what you're saying?
Well, sometimes you want to get their attention with humor before you say your point so that you can have them listening when you get to your point. Other times you have points that may be a little bit intense, sometimes even a little depressing depending on the stories you're taking. So it's kind of like you're building this giant stress balloon and the audience is just intent. And you need to pop it with a little bit of humor.
Certainly lots of people in Toastmasters aspire to do some of the things you are, to be more creative, more writing, and to be professional speakers. For people that are in Toastmasters and they're saying, I want to be a professional speaker someday, what are some ideas or first steps? What do they need to think about now where they are to say, I want to get there?
The first thing you need to do is discover your message. You really find out what it is you want to say. Don't worry about anything else except what is it you want to share with the world. Then after that, you find who wants to pay to hear you say those things. If you're not true to yourself first, you're not going to be able to be true to your audience. So it always starts there.